What is going on, YouTube? I wanted to make a video and talk about what I consider to be the three essential marketing automations for service-based businesses. Just to give you some background, I've been doing digital marketing as a company for almost 11 years now. I worked with all types of companies, physical product, e-com, service-based, local business, etc. And we typically work with service-based businesses. We've worked in ActiveCampaign, Go High Level, MailChimp, Kit, Infusionsoft, all the platforms, right? And I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, of all the different people I've worked with and all the different platforms and with AI and all the changes with tools, like what are the three most foundational marketing automations that all businesses need? All right, so that's when I talked to you about this video. If you'll stay to the end, I'm going to share a little bit of bonus info for you that I think will really help your business kind of utilize a creative and fun and dynamic lead magnet or lead generator that we use and we use with our clients. I think will help you too, okay? So stick around to the end for that. All right, so thing number one is some kind of this is automation number one, some kind of a nurture to book a call or nurture to schedule an appointment, right? This is again focused on service-based businesses after somebody gets onto your list, all right? So let's say you're running ads to a Facebook form or you've got a landing page or whatever way you're getting email addresses. What happens after that, right? And it sounds really simple, but what I see people do all the time, even to this day, is they just turn up the volume on generating more leads, and they're not nurturing the leads they're already getting to take that next step, which is generally booking a call. Okay, it's a huge mistake, and it's really easy to do, and you can set it up in any CRM that you want to. Okay, unless you're using some mom and pop software that's really, really old, you can do this in any automation that you want to. So let's say somebody opts in today. You can send them an email tomorrow, 2 days later, 3 days later, 5 days later, and a full week later. That's 5 emails over the course of 2 weeks. And that's just a foundational one. And it's basically educate, right? So you're giving a little value, educate, opportunity to book a call. That's the format of each email. Doesn't have to be, aggressive. Don't create fake urgency. A lot of people will tell you to, but this is like your opportunity to get to know somebody. So why would you want to do that being fake? I can't stand that. Can't get behind that. And that's a really simple sequence. Now, can you use AI to make that more effective? You can. In the most basic form, it's going to be email driven. And I've given you a suggested cadence. So you get email 1 a day later, email 2 2 days later, email 3 3 days later. And each duration is in relation to the email before it. Okay, so email 3 comes 3 days after email 2. Email 4 is 5 days later. Email 5 is a week later. And feel free to adjust them. Okay, there's no magic. There's no science to it, but it works. And you can use email in the most basic form. You can supplement this with text as well. You can also use ringless voicemail. You can use text agents. So you can use some different things to make it more effective. But in the basic form, that is essential for any service-based business. Like if you're doing well and you don't have that, you're losing money. Like you're just going to make more money adding that. Okay. So that's automation number one. It'll never change. The tech may change, the tools may change, but there's always going to be people who express a little bit of interest in what you're doing. And they're like, do I really want to set up that appointment? Do I really want to get on that call? Not quite sure. So it's just human nature. That's an effective one. Number two, I'm going to call it the nurture after the call or the appointment. Okay, so my business, I meet with somebody, we talk about what they're doing. Maybe there's something I can help them with. If so, I'll present it to them, and if not, I'll send them on their way better than I found them. We're talking about you, not me. Let's say in your business, let's say you're a home remodeler. Okay, so it's not quite, it is service-based, but it is B2C. Let's say you go out there and you give them a quote. Is somebody going to buy right away? Maybe, probably not, right? So what happens after the sales conversation? That's the biggest opportunity of all three. There's a fortune to be made there. And again, it's going to be education, maybe some client testimonials. I run this out for a year, okay? And there's no magic to it. I gave you the same kind of magic for the first 2 weeks. Bump them out a week, 2 weeks apart. Then you can do each month for as long as you want to. But I've had people buy a year and a half later. So once people fall into that nurture after the call or the appointment, just let it run. You don't have to do anything. You can create urgency in there. You can throw in discounts or payment plans further down the line. There's all kinds of stuff you can do, but that's the moneymaker. When you hear the fortunes and the follow-up, it's that automation right there. The third one is going to be what I call the nurture after the verbal commitment. So somebody may say, and it doesn't matter if it's a digital or physical, like in-person type service, like a blue-collar example. If somebody says, I'm in, and they don't pay the invoice, you need to nurture those people, right? Why are they not paying? Are they getting cold feet? Are they having second thoughts? Something's going on. So this is very light. Hey, do you have any questions? I use a 5-email sequence. It's not intense. It might be 3 days later, and then every week for 4 weeks, something like that. And those are the 3 automations that I think are evergreen, right? They're timeless. They're essential. It doesn't matter what CRM you're using. In the most basic form, email only will still make a big difference. But let's talk about how just using a little bit of text, automated text, can help. So I think a mistake a lot of people make with text, and this is kind of getting into bonus material for you, but I think it'll really help your business, so I want to share it with you. Text is great for saying, do you see that email I sent you 5 minutes ago? It's great for driving attention back to the email. It's also great for asking a question. The mistake people make is when they treat it like a blog and they want to drop like a giant text that people read and go, oh, that's automated. Right? If I ask you a question, how do you know if that's me or if that's automated? You literally can't tell. So text is very effective in that way. And if you're texting from a platform, make sure you watch it, because text is best, or text is most effective when you reply fairly quickly, right? Just real people. Text covers up the phone screen. You can't ignore it like you can email. So there's a lot of reasons. And then the newer piece of that is like texting agents, right? Where AI is literally responding to people if they text back within, 3 seconds. So it just takes it to another level still. And you can use those text agents or even ringless voicemail in any of those automations. So a little ringless voicemail, just a little bit, can be very helpful deeper into those automations. Maybe if it's getting towards the end and they haven't taken the action, hit them with a ringless voicemail. It just says, hey, I appreciate the opportunity we had to meet. If you have any questions, let me know. Something simple. You're changing up that environment from email to text to ringless in this example. Sometimes that's all it takes. So I wanted to make this video. I know that's been helpful for me. It's been helpful for hundreds of clients we've worked with, and I'm sure it will be as long as I do this, which will be a long time. It's not changing. The tech can change. The fundamentals in this regard will not. So I promised you a bit of bonus. And let me say this as another bonus before the bonus I planned. If you're watching this for some reason and you are not a service-based business, let's say you are e-com or some kind of a physical product business, your nurture after the nurture after the pitch is really like your shopping cart abandonment, right? So it's the same idea. If somebody opts in for something in your physical product, nurture them till they buy, or if they start to buy and they don't finish, you have that. So there's no nurture to verbal and physical product, but there definitely is. The first two definitely have validity. Is there other automations out there that are helpful and great? Absolutely. Re-engagement stuff, welcome stuff, lead magnet related stuff. But the 3 core ones that really make a business grow and move the needle are the 3 ones I told you about. All right, for the bonus, the most dynamic, most helpful lead magnet. And I won't get into brands, but this is really good. So if you want to think about, like if we're using Facebook ads as an example to get in front of people. So service-based business, Facebook's a great site for that. There's others. There's YouTube and potentially LinkedIn and things like that. But I love quizzes or estimator tools. And the reason why is they play into my favorite part of human psychology, which is curiosity, right? So if somebody starts to fill out a estimator or a quiz about, I don't know, how much would this deck cost me? They probably have some interest in a deck. Or, you know, if it's a quiz around coaching, if somebody starts to fill out a quiz about coaching, what does that tell you? Yeah, they're curious about the outcome, but they have to have some interest. They have to be thinking about it already. So it seeks out people that are curious about what you have waiting for them potentially to buy. So those are great. You can create multiple outcomes or paths depending if people are cold, warm, or hot. And this is good for their experience, and it's good for you as well, because if people are cold and not ready, well, you can get them into applicable nurtures and stuff, etc. And I'm telling you this because if you want to grow your list with people that are interested in something you're doing, this is a great option. If you want to segment people based on what they select, this is a great option. If you want to do something that plays into that curiosity, this is a great option. And it's just, I don't know, I seem to have better luck with it for clients and with myself compared to static lead magnets like checklists or, you know, whatever. So quizzes or estimator tools that have conditional logics and different outcomes based on what people select. I've been using them on and off for years, but they're great. So that's your bonus material. If you have any questions at all or any thoughts, drop it in the comments. Let's get this conversation going. If this was interesting and you want to hear more of my thoughts around marketing and lead gen, I'd love for you to subscribe. The channel's interesting. We do some other stuff that's totally unrelated to business here as well. We do cigars, we do smoked meats, and other random thoughts and different playlists I have about things. So thanks for watching. Hope it was helpful. See you soon.